My content is the chronology of the food and the food industry in Nepal, comparison of the past and the present food habit of the Nepali people, changing of the eating time and the frequency, impact of shifting the food habit on health, and lastly, I'll discuss about I conclude my talk. Actually, in Nepal, food industry started after the 1960s, and in Nepal, the people started to migrate from the hill and the mountain to the southern plain neighboring to India, and east-west highway was constructed, and the mobility of the people increased. And then urbanization and globalization of the people started after the 1960s, and the food industry started to establish and started to produce the food. Generally, the fresh food, more and more fresh food is converted into the processed food, and the fresh food and the processed food together change the food habit of the people. And as the food habit changes, the nutrition of the people changes, and as the nutrition changes, the health status of the people go on changing. And there are the different agents to connect the people in the different parts of the country. This may be the radio or the air route, people going and coming from the outside. Maybe the telephone, more people got the access to the telephone, or the internet, TV, and the land connectivity and electricity. A lot of the changes occur in the food habit of the people as the electricity reached to the people. The people started to buy the refrigerator, started to buy the micro oven, etc. And the traditional food habit have been changed. Here actually, this is the food industry mainly started from the 1960s. Many industries go on starting up to the 2000, and then this is the main industry, more and more industries have established. And this is the industry, this is the process, the food material, and the raw material converted into the processed one, packaged one, very convenient one. In the one side, in the another side, actually, the new foods were introduced from the neighboring country and the abroad. Mainly, these are the prepared and the new food. And some of the new food, for example, this is the momo, the thukpa, or the chow mein, like these new food are introduced from the Tibetan side, from the Tibet, and some of the food are introduced from the India, and some abroad, like the dosa, it was not there in the Nepal, and tandoori chicken, it was not there in Nepal, and the foreign restaurant also established in the Nepal in different big cities. Like this, the pizza was not there in the Nepal, French fries, the soya nougat, it was not there. This is recently this food have been introduced. As the food industry established, more and more food industry established, and new food came into the Nepal, then the food habit of the people changed. This is the food habit, our traditional and indigenous food preparation and the eating practices of the people has been reduced as the new food appear in the market. And then I'm going to discuss about the shifting of the food, especially group-wise. This is in case of the carbohydrate, our past trend was to use the local produces. For example, in case of the terai and the rice and the wheat were the main staple, and in case of the hill and the mountain, this is the maize, millet, barley, buckwheat, and the rice. Rice was the least priority because the plain and this is the hill and the mountain, this is the rice cannot be grown, more amount of the rice. Their staple was mainly focused on the millet, the maize, and the barley. And as the globalization increases, as the connectivity increases, then their local produce is no more their staple, because the more and the more food access of the food increases for them, then the main thing is that this is the processing of the food material. In the past, they process the food material, this is in their own way, in the local way. For example, in case of the wheat, they ground it into the whole ground flour, and the rice, they pound it into the brown rice. Now this has been changed. In case of this is the wheat, this is the white flour. They produce the white flour. They get the white flour. They buy the white flour, and in case of the rice, this is the meal. They buy from the market because the rice is the more meal into the white rice, not the brown rice in the previous case. And the preparation method also changed. And before they use they use their own technology to produce it. For example, roti. This is the roti, or this is the dhiro, like the product. They prepare themselves. Now this is the traditional food have been being replaced by the ready-to-eat or the ready-to-cook product. Very, very, very easy product like the instant noodles, pasta, or the plain noodles, biscuit, bread and cake, like this. If you see the production, this is the cereal production. In case of the rice, this is the production is constantly increased from 2007-8 to the 2016-17. And in case of the other product like the maize and the wheat, this is the increase is not so high. And this is generally the people, they used to eat their own produce, but now they get it from the market because the connectivity has increased. And this is the household using the staple is also the different, this change. For example, in case of the wheat, about the 95% of the people, they buy the noodles. Noodles has become a very, very common in Nepal, instant noodle, because it is easy to prepare. And they buy, about the 45% of the people, they buy the maida, and about 43% people, they buy the atta. This is the maida, is the white flour. And in case of the rice, this is the large meal rice, that means the Polish rice. And the local meal rice, it is also the Polish rice. They mainly consume the Polish rice, not the hand-pounded rice, because the raw material for the preparation of the food material has been changed. They use this hand-pounded rice. This is the brown rice. Brown rice has been converted into the white rice. For example, and this is the millet, barley, and the buckwheat. Actually, their production is constantly decreasing because they are more dependent on the white product, white rice or the maida. In case of the protein, people at the time, in the past, they depend upon the local bean and the legume for their protein sources. Now it is gradually changed into the whole and the split pulses. This is in case the protein, this is the protein, this is the animal protein, animal and the plant protein. In the past, the share of the protein was very less. Now the protein consumption, either in the animal source or the plant source, has been increased. And the processing method also, in the past, they processed locally. This is like the germination, or the boiling, or the roasting, like this. Now they are consuming more. This is the factory processed product, and some of the different products like the toasted meat. This is we call it the mutton sekua. They use this is another type of the processed meat that contain more fat and chemical. This is the sausage. This is the fried sausage. This is the consumption pattern. Consumption pattern has been changed. And the protein, if you see, this meat production is constantly increasing from the 2007 to the 2016-17, as well as the fish consumption also. Before, the fish consumption was very less because we do not have a sea. Only the pond fish was the use. But here in the recent year, the fish the consumption is also increasing. And if you compare the total protein supply, this is the gram per capita per day protein. This is the total protein, and the annual protein consumption has been increased. This is the very interesting fruit and vegetable. this is the consumption pattern of the fruit and vegetable in the past and the present is the, becoming different. This is the mainly in the past, this is the mainly the seasonal fruits and vegetables were consumed. Nowadays, the off-season vegetable is the very common. We can buy any type of the vegetable in all the seasons. And in the past, the use of the chemical was the very less of the option. Now, they use a lot of the chemicals in the off-season vegetable. And chemical residue in the produce is the problem nowadays. And in Nepali diet, actually, this is the vegetable has given the very important importance. We call it dal, bhat, and the tarkari. And the tarkari is prepared from the vegetable. And this trend is still continue. But in case of the fruits are taken as the optional food and not so important in the Nepali diet. There is no time to eat the food. Actually, during the meal, vegetable is the compulsory. And nowadays, the fruit consumption has increased, but the fruit consumption, generally, generally processed fruits is the very common. For example, sugar-loaded fruit juices, not the fresh juice. This is the little increase. Fruit consumption has a little increase, but the form is the different. And very limited quantity of the fruits and vegetables are sun-dried or fermented. This trend is still continued. And nowadays, we can see that the high-value fruits are coming up in the market, but the very limited quantity. And since it has got the high price, the general consumer cannot buy it. For example, this is the kiwi fruits. It is also available in the market. In the past, it was not there. Or the dragon fruits, or the strawberry, or the avocado, or the persimmon fruits. Now the people, the farmer, are interested to produce these high-value crops. And if you see, this is the production. Vegetable production is very high. Mainly the Nepali consume the vegetable because this is the integral parts of their meal. And the fruit consumption is the very less. It is slightly increasing, but the consumption itself is the very less. And generally, this is the previous study says that the Vaidya and the Halitl and the Halitl showed that about 98% of the Nepalese population are not consuming fruits and vegetables combined as per the WHO recommendation. This is the WHO recommendation, means the 5 servings a day or 400 gram fruits and vegetables combined for a day. That's why this is the very less fruit and vegetable consumption in the Nepali diet is the very less. And another study by the et al., it is the little old data, 2013, reported that an average intake of the fruit and vegetable combined was only half the recommendation by WHO. And generally, this is the fruits consumption trend is also changed. And in the past, generally, we consume fruits and vegetables as such. But nowadays, generally, the high sugar-loaded or the chemical preservative-loaded products are prepared and consumed around the year. If you see the confectionery in the past, we prepare the traditional type of the confectionery the people prepare and the consume. Like Kurauni or the Pustakari or the Gudfak, these are the traditional sweets prepared from the milk. And this is the sweet are prepared from the sugarcane, jaggery, or we call it the sucker. It is prepared traditionally and the consume. Nowadays, it is shifted to the more type of the confectionery, like the dairy-based and the flour-based confectionery, sugar and even the chocolate-based confectionery. And a lot of the confectionery have been marketed and consumed by the Nepali people. Like you can see, this is a lot of the confectionery having a color, different type of the color. Color is the problem. And this confectionery contains high amount of the fat also. It is also the problem. And the beverage, in the past we prepare our own beverage. Like this is we call it the Conti type alcoholic beverages. We call it the jarred. This is the jarred is the beer-like local beverage prepared from millet and the rice. And when this jar is distilled by using the traditional, very interesting traditional distillation set by the Nepali in all regions, and they produce it into the distilled one, we call it the Roxy. That's why this is the distillation setup is the very interesting. Very interesting. In between, this is the condensed and the collected, and this is the consumed. And in the past, actually, the non-alcoholic beverage or the natural water or the tea or the mohi is the buttermilk at the time, but now this is the beverage consumption has been changed. Now we have a number of the industries, alcoholic beverage industries, like the spirit or the beer or the wine. And the many people, even you go in the rural area, you can see this is the product, factory-made product, not the local product. And in case of the non-alcoholic beverage, generally, this is the tea, coffee, carbonated drink, sweetened juice, and the energy drink are the very common. And these drinks are generally contain the high amount of the sugar, which changes from the low sugar drink to the high sugar drink. And another important, this is the meal, important food in the Nepali diet is, we call it the khaja. It is consumed about the 2 p.m., and I call it 2 p.m. snack. This is the khaja in the Nepali. And this is in the past, this is the chura. We call it, this is the beaten rice or the roasted soya plus maize, makai bhatmas, we call it in Nepali. And the puffed rice, or the chapati or the roti. And this chapati and roti prepared from the flour, buckwheat flour, or the millet, maize, barley, flour, etc., were consumed in the past. But nowadays, this is the shifted towards the white flour product. Mainly maida, they use the maida and prepare the instant noodle pasta, ramen, biscuit cake, and donut, etc. That's why the change, the main khaja is the change. And in case of the other thing, in the past, they use the boiled egg. It is very good. And the omelette, or the meat roast, or the vegetable soup pickle, tarkari, vegetable curry, or the bean, etc. in the past. Now, this is the change. Now, this is the highly processed food, potato chips, or the cheese ball are coming into the practice for the khaja. And the chatpati, the puri pani, this is the Nepali word, very difficult to understand by the foreign delegates. Anyway, this is the chatpati and the pani puri. This is chatpati prepared from the beans, different type of the bean, and pani puri from the white flour. And this is also not the hygienic because these foods are sold in the street. And the momo and the chow mein, this is the very fat-loaded product, And now this is this food, this is the khaja, is often coupled with the cola, high sugar product, packed fruit juices, tea and the coffee all contain the very high sugar. Before it was not like this. This is the Newari khaja set. This looks very nutritious, different bean and the beaten rice. Beaten rice are there. That's why this is considered as a very good khaja as compared to the present trend. And let me describe about the time and the frequency of the eating. This is the comparison. In the past, generally in the morning we used to take, this is the tea and the milk. This is not the milk. This is the milk, and then 7 to 8. This is the very large meal. We used to take very large meal, and then go for the 2 to 3 o'clock. We take the khaja and the dinner. That's all in the past. But now the lot of the processed food came into the market. That's why the eating time and the frequency of the food has been increased. For example, this is the dinner. We used to take the dinner at 7 to 8 here. This is the 8 to 9. That's why once the electricity, our house is lighted, then this is the shifted. This is the meal time has been shifted to 8 to 9. After eating, they go for bed, and then this is the meal and the bedtime is reduced. This is also one of the reasons. This is the people have got the more obese. This is this number of the people, obese number of the people has been increased. And some of the people who stay late at night, even they take the snack after the dinner before bed. And you see, this is the number of the other food are the increase. This is the here also before the dinner, after the office, or when somebody go from the work to the house. Again, at that time, they take the tea, coffee, and some of the snacks. And it was not there in the before. It was not there. And even this is the tea and the snack there. This is the, at that time, this is the 11 to 12 o'clock. At that time also they take. That's why if you see, if you compare the past trend and the present trend, here the pudding time is also changed, as well as the number of the food is also changed. That's why this may be the main cause to increase the number of the obese person. If you see, it is the very good news that this is the nutritional deficiency has been decreased. This is the protein, energy, malnutrition is increased. Dietary, the iron deficiency also increased, and the vitamin A deficiency is progressively increased from 1990 to 2015. And dialysis is also progressively increased. But it is the very good news. But if you see, this is the prevalence of the obesity is increased. That's why the food is now the problem. Before we had this is the under-consumption, the availability of food was the problem. Now the excess of the food is the problem. And the undernourished person population is also progressively decreased here. And the reverse problem created here is that more and more people is obese. Especially in Nepal, this is the obesity is the problem in case of the woman, more problem in case of the woman than men. And then this is the shifting. This is due to the Subedi et al. This is the reported that the obesity and non-communicable diseases have been increased due to the shifting of the food habit towards processed food. That's why now the people are eating more and more processed food. If you see, this is the malnutrition trend. It is very good. This is the malnutrition. 47 malnutrition has been decreased in the 10-year 2007 to the 2017. This is the decrease. But the bad news is that this is the good news. This is the very good news. The bad news is that dietary risk has been increased 37%, and the body mass index. This is the people gain the more body mass index has been increased 109%. That's why one thing it is better, but the another reverse is that this is the shifting our food habit. Another thing is the bad thing. This is the dietary risk increase and the body mass index also increased. And in conclusion, this is the connectivity has a great impact on the Nepalese food habit and the nutrition. It is very good to have a connectivity, but sometimes it has also got the adverse effect. And the consumer's interest on the traditional food has decreased against the highly processed, convenient, and the tasty food product. And processed food are generally high in the salt, sugar, saturated and trans fat, and contain more hostile chemical residue. This is the problem nowadays in processed food material. In recent years, undernutrition and deficiency disease have decreased, but the obesity rate has increased. It is a cause of the many non-communicable diseases. Obesity itself, it will call many types of this non-communicable disease, generally after the late age. And then the problem, maybe this problem we have to tackle, we have to address this problem. And this problem may be addressed by changing the food habit. Our food habit needed to be the changes, otherwise we will have a more problem. And nutritional education is very less in Nepal. And nutritional education should be introduced into the school level education and producing the more healthy food and food product. Generally, the factory people are generally interested to earn the more money. That's why we have to change the attitude should be changed to produce the more nutritious food product rather than this is the more food that they earn the money. This is the references. And then this is the typical Nepali, this is the meal set. This is the vegetarian. I think this is the very healthy food because it contains the different type of the food material also. This is the dahi, tarkari we call it, the leafy vegetables, saag, the pickles, and the vegetable, and dal is there. But in case this is the non-veg set, this is the dal is replaced by the meat. I think this is a very healthy option. And you foreign delegates may taste this type of the Nepali food.